gentlemen, Speakerhead Squad, what is going on? It is your boy Speakerhead, and welcome to Display Masters. This has been something I've really wanted to do for a very long time, so I'm super excited to finally release the first episode. But this is one of my new passion projects I plan on releasing once a month for the rest of the year. The reason why I plan on releasing these once a month is because obviously these videos are very long and take some time to make. So if you do enjoy this type of content and want to see some more episodes of this series, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Finally, 1 like equals 1 pat for my little buddy Doug. And then on top of that, 1 like equals 1 head scratch for Stephan's cat Soundwave. But that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate you checking out the video, and let's get on with the interview. With me, I have a very talented man. If none of you have been on Reddit, you might not know him. But if you have been on Reddit, you might know him as the most upvoted display on Reddit. And it's going to be Mr. Stephan, excuse me. But Mr. Stephan, also known as 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐏𝐋𝐀𝐘 on Reddit. So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, yours is the most upvoted display on Reddit, so it's very cool that I've seen it. I've seen you slowly been improving and making little adjustments here and there, so that's actually where I found you. But once again, I wanted to thank you for coming on. It's a real pleasure for being the first guest on Display Masters. It's awesome to have you here. But
I love it. No, I'm really excited for this.
I'm super excited too. I'm sorry, I'm also a little nervous. I haven't done an interview in a very long time. But without further ado, let's get into the questions. The first one is, how long have you been into collecting? Like, even from like a childhood, we count like, even if you're buying toys as a kid and just getting your own little toy collection.
Yeah.
Like, when did it all start for you?
So I'm gonna say when I was 5 years old is when I remember watching an episode of like G1 Transformers when I was like 5. And I grew up, I'm 34, so I grew up on Beast Wars. Like Beast Wars was my childhood, like go to every Saturday Fox. Like I had tons of Beast Wars. I would always ask my mom to get Beast Wars. We'd walk by KB Toys and like I would always ask her for new Beast Wars toys. I had a bunch of like random ones. One of the ones I remember I had was the Transmetal Rhinox. And as a kid, so that's probably when I first started like having a collection. Then throughout my childhood and becoming like a teenager, I kind of grew out of Transformers for a period. Like when I was like 11, 12, 13, maybe, like I wasn't into Transformers really, like a little bit of Armada here and there, but nothing like crazy. But I really got this what you kind of see behind me, you know, to my left and right. But a lot of it really became a thing once I became an adult and had my own money. So
yeah, that's what a lot of people, once you get your own money, you can start paying for things. You're like,
to fund it all, right?
Exactly.
Right. I remember being a kid and buying like a really beat up G1 Soundwave. Soundwave's my favorite character. I remember buying a beat up G1 Soundwave off of eBay, which I have. One of my shelves, one of the squares on my shelves is a Soundwave shelf.
That's funny.
I still
right back there. That's my Soundwave shrine.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I can see it. I love it. Yeah. And one of my cats is named Soundwave. So it's like a huge thing.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a huge thing in my house. So yeah, that's one of the first Transformers I remember buying myself. But like as a kid, getting a bunch of Beast Wars toys. I had a G2 Combat Hero Optimus Prime. It's like the one with the big rocket or like the little thing you push on it or whatever.
Which one you're talking about.
Yeah. A lot of people are thinking that they can remold the Holiday Optimus Prime into the Combat Hero Prime or whatever because it looks similar.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. So yeah, I had that one as well. As a kid, I lost it. I think I left it at a store, so that was sad. But yeah, been into it ever since I was a little kid, honestly.
The second question for you then is that what got you actually into collecting?
Yeah, so when I was 16, high school, I worked at Wendy's, and one day I started watching Transformers Cybertron at like 6 a.m. before school, like it was on a Cartoon Network. And I started getting it. That's what kind of like brought me back into Transformers, like was Transformers Cybertron. I started getting into it, watching it. I'm like, all right, okay, it's cool. And then I went to Walmart, and I was like, oh, they have and I really was enjoying the name Sideways. It was like a character in the show called, and I was like, oh, he's on the shelf. He looks cool. Like, I'll just buy them because that's cool. But my personality, I'm very much like all in when it's something I'm into. So I couldn't just buy one. Like, come on now. Of course. with my Wendy's high school money, that's when I started like collecting, and then I got like a bunch of Cybertron figures. So that's what really like set me on the path. I was like 16, 17. That's what really set me on the path to like having a organized, some sort of organized, put together like on a shelf collection. Because when I lived at home, you know, as a kid, I never had like a shelf space or like, you know, I just had toys and that was kind of it. So Cybertron was kind of what got me like back into like the more collecting part, because that led into me being an adult and getting my first apartment, and then like kind of like displaying my figures somewhere, whether it was like on a table or somewhere. But yeah, that's what kind of led me to displaying them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you know like the general time when was it around that 16 age when you started really getting into displaying your figures, like thinking about like, oh, how is this gonna look on a shelf compared to once again just having like a pile of them?
So I would say the shelf stuff or like displaying them really kicked off once I got my own place. So like on my first apartment, a little tiny one bedroom, and I had a computer table with like different level shelves on it, and my collection obviously wasn't nearly as crazy as it is now, so I would display them on there, and that was when I was like 18, 19. And then actually on my Instagram, it's funny, or I think it's either on my Instagram or on my personal Instagram. It's a picture of like my collection like from a long time ago, and it was literally like two end tables and a computer table on against a wall, so it looks kind of goofy. But once I moved out and had my own place, and like I got more comfortable with like my collection, because like you're into Transformers, people have something to say, but like I stopped caring about the potential of anyone having anything to say. So it became like a really big part of me. Like who would come over and be like, oh bro, your collection's crazy. Like, oh, you got this Transformers is really cool. So I would say it really started when I moved out when I was 18, 19. So I got my first apartment. And then from there, like I think it was like 2006 when the Transformers Classics line was like the main thing, Yeah, so like that Devastator, that was like a repaint of the Energon one, and like Ultra Magnus, that was basically a white Optimus or whatever. I collected that line. That line, I probably owe a lot of how my collection is now. It all started with the Transformers Classic line in 2006. So all those things kind of put together, I would say.
The next question that I got for you is going to be, what is the personal favorite thing that you have done to your collection? So out of all the little things you've done to your collection, what is the one thing that you're like, wow, that really just changed how my display looks?
Simply the detail shells, the glass cases that they're in. I had came across them either Facebook or TFW, one of those, a long time ago, and I was like, that's the dream setup for my collection, and like have lights ran through. And then so at my apartment before here, that's when I finally had the resources and the space to get detail shelves. So I just started buying one shelf at a time, displaying it, one shelf at a time, displaying it. And then once we got the house, we moved in here in October 2019. I was like, okay, let me, we got this whole space and I can really take it to the next level. So I just started buying one detail shelf because I wanted something clean and I wanted something that like can show the figures off, but at the same time gives me some sort of organizational skills, because each shelf inside each case is like it's organized a certain way. Like I organize it by seasons of the G1 cartoon. So like there'll be like a G1 Autobot or like a season 1 Autobot shelf, like a season 2, so on and so forth. So the detail shelves gave me that, like, because you got so many figures. Once you get to a certain point, if you don't get some sort of like case, shelf, something, it just becomes really crazy looking. And so something that was really important to me was to be able to, like, if you walked by it, it's kind of like a museum inspiration where you could see your collection and like anyone could just easily like look at it and like kind of take it all in, if that makes sense. So
yeah, kind of like what you're saying. It's like going from, once again, a toy to an actual display piece, something where people are like, oh, it's not, once again, just like this little toy. It's like, this is actually a like beautiful piece of like art or work or whatever. So it's like, once again, and I'll say this too, a lot of people tend to have issues with having DTOFs as a display. I personally love how you have yours displayed. You just have it set up so nice, especially with the lights and everything, and then the Titans on top. I just really like how you have yours set up, because like I said, some people have that issue where they either don't use risers or they don't really do anything with their figures, and it's all just kind of a conglomerate, and then they got so much extra space. I really like how you got yours displayed. It's got it all nicely set up, and like I said, especially with those lights shining on them, that's also a very nice touch. So
yeah, I wanted it to be all showed off well, basically.
If you could change one thing about your current display, or I don't know if you have other displays, because I know you said that you're also into Marvel. If you could change anything about any of your displays, what would you personally change?
So I have seen this collection that I took a little I've taken some inspo from it in regards to what figures will be on which shelf with which other figures. It's a collection where it's not in any cases, it's on white shelves, but they're all changeable white shelves, as he has like brackets going vertically across the wall, so we can just easily take a shelf out, move it, that so on and so forth. So that was kind of cool, because I was like, okay, like, you know, because like obviously each shelf inside each case is only a limited amount of space.
Yeah.
So I was like, that could be kind of cool. So obviously that'd be a complete overhaul and like a whole thing, and I don't know if that's something I would ever like do, but I was like, that's the one that's out of all the collections I've seen, that's one collection where I've like it made me think about maybe doing something different. I really am happy with this. One thing I'm going to add another one. This one behind me. Since I've just gotten new figures and whatnot, I want to do a victory shelf with victory sabers. So we'll be adding a second one on this wall behind me, because I needed to have a spot to display Unicron. Right, I'm really into sneakers too, so on this wall is a bunch of sneakers in cases, and Unicron and is hanging out over here. If you can kind of see, you can kind of see them off to the side. So I think as we get older, we upgrade, buy a new home or whatever, it's in a bigger room. That'll probably give me more inspiration to like, okay, I'm in a different space, like how I want to do it. The cool thing about this room is that the wall at this wall above the Titans, there was already that white shelf.
It
was already there, like when we got the house. So that was kind of cool, because I was able to display some different stuff up there, and I didn't have to like do any extra extra
just
work.
There for you to use.
Yeah. Yep. So
it works
yeah,
well with
just kind of it really thank you. Yeah, it really worked well, and it was kind of like a sign, like, okay, I need to use this room for that. So
the next question is going to be, if you could restart like from square one, if you had all the money that you had from buying from every single figure in the past, and you could just restart your entire collection, what would you do differently? Because I feel everyone has made that mistake. It was like, man, I should have not bought these figures and wasted my time, So what would be your experience on changing your collection if you could just restart with all the money you had?
So I think there was a time period where I like to refer to it as Pokeformers, where it was kind of like gotta collect them all. Whether I really cared about owning it or not, I felt like I just need to have all of them in the line. And to a certain extent, some stuff, like for example, like Beast Wars, like I don't really like the Kingdom Cheetor figure. I think that mold, I don't like that mold at all, actually. Yeah, I don't really like it, but I have a Kingdom Cheater because, like, obviously you gotta have the whole cast. Like, you
have them because you need them there.
Right. So I think one thing I would change is I sold a lot of figures I just didn't care about anymore. But I think being like, do I really want this, or am I just buying it because like I want a new Transformer, that sort of thing. So maybe just being like a little bit more, do I really need this one or not? I would say. But yeah, where my collection is at now, I feel I filtered out of everything I really didn't really want or need or whatnot. But like, as we've been doing a lot of, they'll come out with a character where there was like Siege Optimus, then we'll get the Kingdom Op, you know what I mean? Or like, we're getting the 86, we got the 86 Ironhide, where we had the Earthrise Ironhide. So Hasbro's coming out with a lot of figures that can sort of replace your figures you have now. So a little bit of that's kind of going on by default. But just being more aware, like back in the day, I would have probably wanted all the Diaclone like repaints that they've been coming out with, just because they were characters I didn't have. But like now I'm like, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So because I would have just wanted them because they were characters I didn't have, versus like characters I don't have that I actually have some sort of interest in. So
yeah, I mean, just to like go on that, just talking about figures that you just don't want. For my problem was, I think it happened with 86 Perceptor. So before I picked him up, like a few months before that, I had 0 Perceptors. And then within that few months, I ended up picking up Magic Square's Deadly, so their little legend scale Perceptor. Yeah. And then on top of that, I also picked up the X Transbots Perceptor. So then is that
the Masterpiece one?
Yeah, that's gonna be the Masterpiece one. So that was the one that was also coming out with that Fans Toys one. So, but then
yeah.
So I got picked up that 86 Perceptor after getting these other two, and I love Perceptor, but I'm just like, man, do I really need 3 of these guys in my collection, you know? It's like maybe 2 once again for the alt in the bot mode, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I need 3 Perceptors. Especially like, I'm not saying that the 86 one is bad. It's definitely a great figure, but it's just like compared to that Legend scale and that Masterpiece that don't have that limitation of budget, it's like...
Right.
Do I need to keep the I guess the weakest copy, you know? So like there's still some what's it called? Some mainline figures I got myself some of the legacy stuff. I got Bulkhead, I got RC back there, I got Hot Rod, I got some of the like good figures that they got, but it's just like not all of them are winners, you know?
Right. And it all comes down to what type of collection you want, right? Like, because I don't collect Masterpiece. Well, I have all the Masterpiece Beast Force figures, but it's expensive. Like the majority of mine is like mainline. What I love is kind of what I mentioned earlier about how Classics 06 is what has gotten my collection to where it is today. Because as a kid and like growing up and thinking about Transformers, I kind of thought like, wouldn't it be cool if like they came out with like a toy line where like G1 characters or the toys were just released today? Like, what would the figures be like? And that's literally what we're getting with like Classics Generations, you know, Siege, Earthrise, Legacy Kingdom. You know, you get what I'm saying. Being able to get an 86 Perceptor and then like having it with 86 Ironhide or like getting Legacy Minotaur, you all just decide what's important to you. And like all the Masterpiece stuff, it's really cool. But like to have a whole cast of G1, like it's not feasible. It's not realistic to have like, it'd be cool. Like it'd be cool, you know, to have a whole season, right? The season 1 Autobot cast, all Masterpiece style, like that's cool. But I do like fiddling with the figures too. And, you know, obviously it's a space thing and it's a price thing. You know what I mean? Each Masterpiece figure is $100 plus, maybe more. So no, I am a big fan of like I like to look at pictures of them. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I was like, I don't need a Siege Ironhide and an Earth mode Ironhide. I don't really care about the Siege one. So off you go. So yeah.
Next question. When it comes to collecting, what is one piece of advice you can give a newer collector?
I would say just really think about maximizing your space and don't let space stop you from buying a figure that you really want. Don't let that be the reason. I've seen too many comments where like, I'm passing on this character because I don't have space and I just want to throw my phone. Because I'm like, look, you can figure out the space later. Like you can figure out the space later. Don't deprive yourself of a cool figure because of space. You know, space can change, things can change, so on and so forth. So and I would just say get creative with it and have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like obviously everyone has their own limitations, you know, different whether it's financial, physical, with the space and whatnot. But just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like every collection starts out at a certain point. I think the difference now from when I started really ramping up collecting is I think if you start collecting now, there's a bigger challenge because you got to go back. Like there's going to be figures you're going to want to go back and get, like, because they kind of all go together. You know what I mean? Since Siege kind of rebooted the Generations toy line or whatnot, like you kind of want to go back and be like, oh, I need to get this guy, or I need to go back and get, you know, Titans Return so and so. So, you know, just leverage Facebook groups. I've gotten a lot of great deals and, you know, sold stuff on there. So leverage that too. And just remember, like, you don't need to compare it to anybody else. Like, you collect, oh, that's so cool, or I don't have these. Like, that doesn't matter. With all the figures I have, there's still a bunch I don't have. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, the thing I did want to mention, or at least comment on, was the part about buying a figure, not pretty much missing out on that. My example is, I don't know if you know about that Like Toys Metroplex coming out.
Yes, giant.
I'm making that thing part of my collection. Absolutely no idea where it's fitting in this place, but it's gonna live here somewhere.
Exactly. You gotta have it.
Because if I don't, that thing is gonna be it's gonna easily be over $1,000. It might even be like $2,000 depending on like how many actually get made and whatnot, how many people resell them.
Yeah.
So it's that's and kind of like what you have, the HasLab Unicron. It's like I missed out on that, and it's gonna cost me a fortune to end up picking that guy up.
Yeah, I ended up getting that. I passed on it too at first. I don't know why I did. Because me now would have never passed on it.
I think it was just basically the virus. I think that was a lot of it. Just
it was like I can't spend this much on a Transformer, can I? Like, but I was like, and I'm like, it's not coming up for a year. I don't want to put that much on my credit card, whatever. But I was like, and I should have just got it dealt with it would have been fine. But then it was just kind of like not a lot, but like every so often it would like kind of poke me and be like, "Hey, you need Unicron. Like you got all this stuff, but you don't got Unicron." And like, and man, I'm like, I kind of need Unicron. So I basically like launched a campaign, and what I mean by that is like on every Reddit, Facebook group I was in, I was like, I'm looking for HasLab Unicron. Who's got one? Let's make a deal. And like I just couldn't find one. I was like, I get what it's going for, but I'm like, I'm not paying as much. Y'all crazy.
Yeah, understandable.
So you guys are great. So then I found a guy. We was messaging back and forth. He cut me a good deal on it. And you know, the rest was history, and I'm really happy to have it. But yeah, like, you know, it's getting into collecting Transformers now. There's definitely a lot of figures go for various amounts of money on. That's kind of why I pre-ordered everything right away and like just get it, because like I know a lot of people are, you know, with inflation and figures getting more expensive, and like, you know, hey, wait for sales, and I totally get that, and that makes sense, and I respect that. At the same time, it's kind of, you know, depending on the figure, you know, you might wait for a sale and it never comes, and then it sells out, that sort of thing. So
I've seen that many times where people are just waiting. There's like, I'm waiting for that sale, and then once that sale, if it does hit, finally hits, it's like it's already gone.
Yeah, it's already gone. You can't read it. So it's like hard to find. Like distribution is too, like, in the amount of gas and time and whatever. And you know, if you're catching sales on Amazon, more prior to you. Like obviously, you know, you just order, ship it to your house. Just a lot of little things like that, I would say.
Next question: when it comes to displaying your collection, whether it be Transformers, Marvel, shoes, whatever you are personally into, what is one piece of advice you could give people to help display their stuff in a way that they will personally be happy with it?
I would say figure out what matters most to you in regards to the figures you own. So what I mean by that is, say you got 5 Beast Wars, G1, G2, whatever. So like, all right, so you know you got the Beast Wars guys and go to the Beast Wars guys, et cetera, et cetera. How it matters to you? Like, do you like displaying them by factions, like Autobots and Decepticons? You know, like, or do you like displaying them by factions and seasons? And so on and so forth. So I think really figuring out what makes sense to you, it matters to you the most. And like, you know, I think a traditional displaying way is kind of like by seasons. You know, like you got your G1 Autobots, your G2, G1 Decepticons, so on and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like a good baseline. That's a good baseline. But I would just say, like, based off of the collection you have and like what figures you really want to go after, like, hey, how do you want to display them? And obviously when your collection's just starting out, you got 10 dudes from random places. It doesn't really matter. It's going to come into play as the more and more figures you get, the more and more some sort of system organizing them will come into play to where you're going to get the most enjoyment out of it. I think I do think having some sort of like semi-organizational with your collection is going to help you when you go to look at it and you want to grab one off the shelf and you're like, all right, I know he's going to be here or she's going to be here or whatever. And then like I've had to, it sounds goofy, but I've got like 2 or 3 figures in that have had me rearrange a couple shelves. I'm like, all right, I need to do, you know, this guy's got to go here, whatever. When Minerva was like announced or like leaked or whatever, I was already like, okay, so I need to do like a Super God Master for a shelf because I got a couple and I'm like, okay, might need to get the God Jinrai figure down the road. Metal Hawk leaked, so I'm going to get that. So I'm like, boom. Super God Master 4 shelf coming. I'm like, okay, Victory Saber's coming. Cool. Let me get a Victory shelf going. Maybe I'll have one of these like a whole Japanese shelf. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that kind of gets exciting because it gives you a reason to like play with your figures and like do that sort of thing. So then that's what matters to me. That might not matter to you, you know, or a different collector. They just might like the red, so they might want to put all the red figures on one shelf. I don't, you know what I mean? Like they could just color coordinate it, which would be kind of cool. Actually, now that I think about it, like a rainbow.
I think I've seen someone do that with like where they've had like all the same characters in like different detops. So it's like you just saw block of green, block of blue.
Yep, I've seen that before too, and whichever thing is really cool. Like I saw a guy with like a all Ironhide, all Optimus, all Megatron. Yeah, so you might want to do it that way. But yeah, just find out what is most important to you as an individual collector. There's no wrong answer. You could have your stuff. I could be look at it and be like, I would never do that. But if it makes sense to you, you know, hey, there you go.
Actually, one thing I did want to mention as well is talking about the like sorting your shelves by like season 1, season 2. I feel like that's where a lot of people end up falling into that cycle of like, okay, I don't care about this character, but I need to fill out my season 1 shelf.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'd say at
and
least,
yeah. And
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I definitely agree with that. Especially if you grew up on a cartoon, it's like, all right, I need these. Or like, I didn't grow up on G1, but like obviously that's where it's all started, and that's where the best figures are coming out, and has we're putting the most resources and money into. And so like I get excited when like 86 Ultra Magnus just leaked listing for 86 Ultra
Commander
Magnus.
class too.
So I'm
Actually
like,
interesting.
Commander class, I think that's gonna be fire. I think it's gonna be crazy. And so I'm like, sign me up, because I have like the 40th anniversary of the movie on Blu-ray, the 35th anniversary. I don't know why I bought the 40th when I had the 35, but
you gotta have all of them.
So you gotta get all of it. And if all the figures are cool individually, I think it helps. Like for the most part, I like every figure I have. Like I mentioned Kingdom Cheetor.
Oh, yeah.
I think Kingdom Tracks is just okay. But for the most part,
I'm sorry, don't mean to cut you off. I bought
no, go ahead.
3 different Traxes. All of them had hardcore defects. So I'm like, you know what? This is one I am just returning, not even dealing with.
That's a sign.
Yeah, that's a sign.
That's a sign. That's a
all
sign.
From different stores, by the way. I think one was from Target, one was from Walmart, and one was from like something else. I'm like, oh my gosh, this track sucks.
Wow, that does suck. I had that issue similar with Galvatron, with the Kingdom Galvatron, because remember how the arms were assembled backwards. So like if you flipped the arms around, it was like right or whatever.
I think I had that same problem.
So I ordered like 2 off of Amazon. I think I bought 1 on Target. I was doing so many exchanges trying to get the right one, and then eventually I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't really care.
And then I found out Legacy was coming out.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, let's go then the Legacy one with no battle damage got announced. So I was like, perfect. The battle damage on him doesn't really look that great anyways. So
there's definitely
the battle damage
worse on other figures, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great.
It just looked like blue paint.
Yeah.
And I like battle damage, but I think battle damage looks really great on like customizers. I've seen some custom paint jobs on figures where it looks
that's
crazy.
Manufacturer, unless it's a high-end figure, most of that battle damage doesn't look too great.
It's just not. Coming from Hasbro, battle damage is probably never going to be too great. But yeah, I had that issue with Galvatron where I went through a few before I landed on the right one.
I feel like that's a classic Hasbro problem these days, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's definitely like with certain figures, like if it's regular retail, it's like a minor. I'm pretty easy to please, I would say, compared to some comments and things I see on like figures. Like some stuff just really doesn't bother me that much. I'm just kind of like, like it's fine, or I'll exchange it. Like if it's not, or like if some stuff's a little loose here and there, I'm kind of like, But yeah, I definitely think there is, obviously you want to get the one that you like the most. And if you went through 3 tracks.
Yeah, it's just like I couldn't deal. It was crazy. One was like a blemish. One like didn't even. It was literally. I think it was like a full piece was completely warped. And then the third one, it's like before like not even like transforming it, the windshield or the mirror was like warped already and like bent, like it was like
wow.
I'm just like I was already stressed.
So it just out the package it was messed up.
I'll say this, I probably could have fixed the warp one because I have a heat gun, but even so, like I'm more worried I probably melted more and then screw it up even more.
Yeah no, I had a now that I think about it, I had an issue with the first Cosmos, the
really?
Bossatron Cosmos. I bought 2. Well, I got both of them. I was able to get. I never saw them in stores. So, and that's one of the figures I really tried to get in store. I pre-ordered one on Walmart, and that pre-order has still never came in. I still have that order, and that was back in July, and it's literally still sitting here, which is crazy, right? And so on TFW, he said he saw one, but he didn't want to buy it. He passed on it, and I was like, hey, would you mind going back and getting that for me? So and it had the arm was loose. The arm wouldn't stay up. Arm wouldn't stay up. I was just doing this. The whole time. So I bought a second one, and I tried to doing like a little super glue in the arm, a little whatever.
See, I was going to mention that. I feel like people don't do that often. I personally use super glue, like just a hair, just to make those hinges better.
Just a tiny bit. Yeah.
I feel that works much better than like shoe polish. I've never gotten shoe polish to work properly.
Yeah, I tried it. It works for like a little bit, then it got loose again. So I bought a second one.
I think it rubs off.
Right, it rubs off. Then I listed it for sale, and I said like, hey, the left arm's a little loose. And then I found a guy was like, I don't really care. It's gonna be for my son. He's just gonna play with it. I'm like,
Well, that's good at least.
cool. So yeah, so just ship it to him for retail. Literally what I paid.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
good.
it was all it was. Yeah. Like it was like I don't if I sell a figure, I like to be very upfront. Like, hey, this is what it comes with. This is what you get. So because once I ship it off, it's out of my hands.
Hey, good seller right there. Good seller right there.
Yeah, but yeah, I like to just be like, and if you're gonna play with it as a kid, they're not gonna care about collector problems, right?
Yeah, seriously, they're not gonna be worrying about those little details that we care about.
Nope, not at all. I don't. How do you feel about open packaging?
I am not a fan of it, just because I've seen so many heads being ripped off in my area. It's
really.
I've also the core class too. Core class I've seen just straight up ripped out of the box and gone.
Yeah, if you're gonna steal a figure, it being open is very easy to.
Yeah, I'll say this: other than like that problem, ordering online is fine. It just in store is like the main issue. I feel it's just too many things can happen. I've seen so many weapons that have been stolen out of those things as well. That's so common. They've been trying to do better at it, but even so, it's like it's just cardboard. You can just rip with
it's just cardboard. Yeah, that's right. It's just cardboard. Yeah.
I don't think there's a single like collector wise that enjoys the open packaging, like, and then the vice versa with the leader class with no open. People hate that because they can't look at the figure.
So I actually don't mind. I don't mind the open packaging. I kind of like it if I am buying in store, because if there's like 3 on the shelf, I'll just take a gander and see if I can like spot any blemishes on one versus the other, and be like, if I don't see any, then if I'll try to spot. I don't to go in person for hunting a ton, but I haven't seen any issues with like heads popped or anything in my area, luckily.
That's good.
I understand why they do it, but yeah, I would say the bigger issue would be the stuff with the closed boxes, because like you said, you can't see it at all. So if there was a blemish that you could just like spot, you don't know. So
the last question is going to be, are there any future plans for your displayer collection? I know you said you were talking about getting a new Deedhoff and stuff for your Star Saver stuff, so
yeah. So that would be, I would say, any like future serious plans would be another Deedhoff shelf right back here, just to have a victory shelf, a Super God Master Force shelf, and then some other stuff that I would fill in there. I can't think of. The series after victory with Atlas. I can't. Zone. Thank you.
Yeah.
So do a zone. Yeah, I was like, what is that called? Do a zone shelf with there, because I had that Atlas set, and then I have all the Micro Masters. So from the cartoon, from that one episode. So that would be the next plan, to buy a Deedhoff shelf at some point. There's been reports of like there's like a newer Deedhoff shelf that the quality isn't as good as these old ones.
Ooh, yikes.
And they've gone up in price a lot. So
that's
I was doing a little investing.
Less quality, more price.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? I was reading the reviews on IKEA's website. I'm like, well, that's not good. So I'll have to do a little research on that, because I don't want to have a different shelf. Like, I feel like
it's gonna throw it off. It feels weird.
We throw it off. Yeah, so I might do some research, and every once in a while I've seen people sell like used ones on Facebook Marketplace, and like you just go pick it up. And we have an SUV, so maybe I can get lucky and do that. But besides that extra detail shelf, nothing crazy. Just buying more figures.
Yeah, buying more and just adjusting as you need be.
Exactly, literally just adjusting why I need be. Like, now that I got Minerva in, we're gonna bust her out. Play with her this evening. I hope they do a new Optimus Prime, like Power Master Optimus Prime, God Jinrai figure. The LG EX one that came out some years ago it's cool. It's a little wonky looking. I've never owned it, but it's a little wonky looking.
Hey, so considering that they're doing Armada, I think anything's pretty much on the table now. Yeah,
I firmly believe, this is a prediction, hot take, I don't know what you want to call it, but I firmly believe we're going to get 2 things for the 40th anniversary of the G1 cartoon. We're getting an 86 Commander class Optimus Prime, and we're getting an 86 Leader class Megatron. He's going to transform into probably a tank, even though I personally think they should have him transform into some sort of like artillery platform type thing, so he can still be a gun, but not like a gun.
I'm wondering if they could almost pull like the Nerf technique of it and just giving a super orange barrel, and then some third-party company can like make a little cover for it or something.
So Hasbro said recently that they would never do like a gun Megatron.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. You're right.
Even as a HasLab, I think the best option for a gun Megatron would be if a third-party company made like one that like scaled with all the current figures.
Or like I saw someone posting and asking about like making just like masterpiece figures, but like just scale them down to like mainline.
Yeah. So I do think we're gonna get 86 Commander Prime, 86 Megatron, and then people will be like, "Oh, I gotta buy another Megatron or another Optimus," and I'll be like, "Well,
that's Hasbro for you. They're gonna suck as much money from you as possible."
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's another advice: is buy the figure for what it is, not assuming it's gonna be the last figure of that character ever. Because I've already seen people like think another Commander class I bought Earthrise, it was good. Why do I need another one? So my advice would be just enjoy your Earthrise and don't even worry about the new one that comes out. It's a great figure, but there's always going to be another Optimus.
And then my counter to that is that if you don't have the Earthrise one, you be patient and then you wait for the best one to finally come out.
Exactly.
Good example is the 86 Ironhide. It's crazy how many they came out with in like 3 years.
It was such a short, right? It was such a short period of time. Yeah, that was the crazy part. When 86 Ironhide first leaked, I was like,
again?
But we got the Earthrise. Like, again? I was like, and I'm thinking, like, it's not going to be a new mold. It'll probably be a little remold. And I'm like, well, what if it is a new mold? And then I'm like,
then they say Voyager, and it's like, oh, God.
Yeah, then I'm like, Voyager class. And then, you get, so you're like, your wheels are turning. You're like, what's it going to be? But I think it's way better than the Earthrise one because I love the transformations better. Yeah, the colors are better. The vehicle mode, a little wonky because it, like, there's kind of an exposed hinge and like they didn't put the yellow line on it, the yellow paint stripe. I actually painted that on mine just to break up the red a little bit.
I'm sure Toy Hacks, if they haven't come out with one yet, they're going to come out with one. Yeah, see,
they do. Yeah, they do. I was like, do I want it? I don't need it. The Toy Hacks sticker is that's a path I am trying not to go down because there's a lot of sticker sets that I'm like, that would be pretty cool.
And see, that's actually why I don't usually buy oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say that's why I usually don't buy upgrade kits for my main line because I'm like, I'm spending 30 on this figure and then I don't want to spend another 30. Oh, good, perfect example actually. Only one upgrade kit I want to get is for the core class Soundwave, but it's $15 for it and the figure's 10. So I'm just like, do I want to literally spend over?
Yeah, and you're talking to the guy who also has the upgrade kit for core class Soundwave.
It looks amazing. I love it. I want. That's
it's cool.
Like I said, that's
I was like, I mean, it gives it the feed, and yeah. And I go back and forth with upgrade kits a lot. I have a decent amount of upgrade kits because there's certain figures where the upgrade kit feels like it completes the character. Like I gotta have this. Like 86 Perceptor. He has that hole in his back. So I bought the little red flap cover, which I don't even know if you consider that an upgrade kit, but I bought that for that one. I was like, I kind of need it. I bought an upgrade kit I'm looking at it right now for Cosmos because he had the big gap in his forearms. Yeah, so I was like, I need that. But yes, upgrade kits are tough because if money wasn't an object, I'd probably want them for every figure. Like I'd be like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Like I do have the Legacy Minosaur DNA kit, upgrade kit. I have that one pre-ordered. Yeah, because I really wanted the articulated hands and then a couple other things that it comes with. So I was like, I need that. But yeah, some kits I'm like, no.
I don't
refuse because I agree they're expensive. Like you said, a figure's $25 and then the upgrade kit's another $20. It's like, yeah.
And that's kind of why I got into Legend Scale because it, like we were saying, it's just like you add especially if it's a Voyager or something, so $30 for that, and then if it's $30 for that upgrade kit, at that point you're paying $60. That's the same price as some of these Legend Scale figures, so it's like you might as well get that. They're well painted, they have great transformations, they're fun to mess around with, they look great in both modes. It's like at the point you're just determining, do I want a bigger size or do I just want to get a little bigger? Yeah, I love what I don't know if it's a Magic Square, but it's like a Legends class Ironhide. Yeah, actually, it looks. That's this guy. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Very cool. I love that one. Yeah, I love that one. I saw some posed shots of it. I was like, damn, that looks great. But I refuse. I won't go down that rabbit hole. Everybody, a bunch of Legends. I don't blame you. All I'm saying is that Luckily, I made that choice fairly early in my collection career because I was buying all 3 Masterpiece, Mainline, and Legend Scale, and I'm like, I gotta cut some
That's
of
a
these
lot.
out.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot.
that's why I'm broke.
That's a lot.
But yeah, so it's just like
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to cut one of these out. That's why I'm trying to cut out my Mainline because as much as I love Mainline, there's so many coming out so much where it's like one wave is $200+. So it's like at that point I can just buy
It adds up.
one Legend Scale figure, maybe 60, 70 bucks, unless it's this dude for like a ridiculous amount. Like this is the most expensive Legend Scale figure I've ever bought besides the combiners. Those don't count; those come in parts. But it's just like,
right.
Other than that guy, they're for the most part it's fairly reasonable price. So I'm just like, I might as well.
If you're only Legend, easier to display too. So pros and cons. Yeah, no, they're great figures. I've definitely seen a lot of Legend. Is that Legends Optimus Prime on your mic there?
Actually, that's the Doctor Wu one. That's even smaller than Legends. He's like this. He's teeny tiny. Like.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I got a couple Doctor Wu stuff. I actually got their Slam Dance.
Hey, that was awesome.
Third party tapes. Yeah, these go with Blaster. So, I don't buy a ton of third party figures, mostly just third party stuff that like complements the mainline stuff. So like the Doctor, whatever. So yeah.
Hey, as you were saying though, that's what you're aiming for. You're aiming for that main line, so it's like you might as well focus that instead of, like you said, like some of these other ones. Yeah, they look maybe better, but at the same time, it's just gonna be, you don't want to restart just because you like one little figure.
Yeah. It's like I'm too, because then if I bought one, I'd be like, well, nah, I want all of them. So
exactly. So, and that's why I made my decision. I feel like that's probably another last piece of advice we can give people. Just make sure you make your decision on what type of collection you would like to have. Think about like, okay, well, how do I want my collection to look in the future, so that way I don't have to worry about, once again, making purchases that are just a waste of my money that I know I'm gonna eventually get rid of.
Yep. Agreed. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the questions I got for you. So right now, first off, I want to once again thank you for joining me for this interview. It has been amazing having you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the second thing I wanted to say is, do you have some stuff you want to shout out? I know you said you had an Instagram. Anything else you'd like to shout out?
Yeah. So my Transformers Instagram, which I'm going to start posting some more stuff on after this, of course, is it's Sean SEAN 2___ prime. And then, like I said, I post on Reddit every so often. It's been a little while since I like to do like yearly collection picks on Reddit, because everybody on Reddit showed me a lot of love, and I really appreciate that. So shout out to everyone on Reddit. Like I said, you found me on there @_Crin. So we'll probably be posting more on both of those platforms with an updated collection pick, because it's changed a lot since the last one I dropped. One of the biggest questions I got from Reddit was, do I have Unicron? And I was like, well, no. But now, now since we got Unicron, now I gotta let you know. So yeah, on Instagram, Sean ___ prime. On Reddit, @_Crin. That's where I post most of my Transformers related stuff. So yeah, if you guys want to find me there, follow it along, and then
Other than that, this has been the interview, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Stephan, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being, once again, the very first guest of this series, so I'm super excited.
Yes. Yes, I appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, but other than that, all y'all watching, you have a lovely rest of your night, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.